Hello everybody, this is another copy of my folded easy little pouch, and it's a request from someone. Don't always do as I'm told, but this time I'm going to do as I'm told, and I'll make another one. But there are about at least half a dozen if you look back on my YouTube years ago, maybe 4 years ago or something, and sometimes they were with other crafts as well. Anyhow, I'm going to do this again for a friend, and I don't mind doing that at all. I'm always happy to make them. Okay, so the fabric I'm choosing today, of course, this is variable, can be any width you like. It's 4.5 inches wide, and how long is it? And it's 19 inches long. Now that can be anything you like. It's just up to you, really. So, that's one way. Another way is 11.5 centimeters if you're in Europe or New Zealand, and 48 centimeters long. So those are the measurements. That's really all you need, because it's very variable. Now the way you make this is you make it upside down. So you have the fabric, instead of folding it like that's the wrong side, this is the right side. And normally when you're sewing something together, you would be doing it right sides together, generally. And that's how this works out. However, so first of all, you establish where you want the pocket. Let me see. Having a hard time with this. Viewing this. Okay, so you'd establish where you want the pocket and how deep you want it. And generally, a rule of thumb I've found is about half the distance here. So say it's to there. So maybe about half there. And that's kind of easy. You can change this if you want. I've already zigzagged both ends just to stop them fraying. Not that it does. This is a kind of a vintage tapestry fabric, and so I did, just to stop the fraying, I did just zigzag stitch the ends. That's already done. So now I've established the pocket, so the pocket will be that deep, and that depth is 12 centimeters is what I've put for that, or about 4 3/4 inches. I'm not going to give any more of those measurements. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to put this one over, because this is all of this, the other half of the fabric is the flap, and it's going to fold down according to how deep you want the flap. Now that doesn't make sense the way I'm saying that. So what you're going to do is you're going to check in here. So this is the top of the pocket. It's not going to be hemmed or anything. And then if you fold that back to where the top is, this whole part here is the flap. Now one of the tricks is, if you want to decorate the flap, and I've pulled out a few things that I might use, if you want to decorate them before you sew it together, you find it's easier to stitch that way if you're not going to glue it. So I pulled out a few things, and what you would do is you would put them on this portion right here, and they have to be facing here. And I don't know if I can explain to you why, but that fold becomes the pocket bottom. So you want this design, if you're going to do it here, to do that, to face this way. And if it's not a design that it matters, it doesn't really matter, does it? You can just sew all this stuff on, and then you're good to go. So I'm not going to do that, though. So I've established that I want the pocket this deep. Now I'm just going to decide how big the flap is. The other thing to look at is as I said, this, if you fold this back to the top of the pocket here, that gives you how much flap you have. And to me that's too much, because that means that would flop over like that. I mean, that could be alright, but it only shows that much. So in order to make this a little better for my taste, I'm going to make the pocket deeper. So the pocket is deeper now. And I'm going to fold this over, let me see, I'm going to fold it over to there, and I can feel under here that that's where the flap is going to be. So in other words, this would be down to here. So when it's all finished on the right side, of course, it's going to be, this will be the flap and this will be the body, and that to me is a better proportion. So let's see, I'm going to pull it down just a little more. Don't want the flap too big. So now all you have to do is sew 2 sides, and you've finished. So I put a pin there. Normally I don't even put a pin. So all I'm going to do is sew down that side, sew down each side like that. And it's a good idea to start from the pocket end. So I'm going to do that. And back stitch. And that's kind of it. That's it. That's done. So that's done. Now you turn the inside out. Sometimes I clip the corners, but I did a really narrow hem, so I didn't think it was necessary. Sometimes you need to. So you fold it once. You see, I've got this, so I fold it again. This is rather thick fabric. I didn't realize it would be as thick when it's sewn. Sometimes I just don't have quite the right length of fabric, because basically you do need a good 18 to 20 inch long piece, and sometimes, you know, I don't have that. Now, that's done. That's it. I'm just pushing out the cord. Now that is it. Now this is the flap. This is the pocket. I made my pocket a bit bigger because that was my taste. And there's the flap. Okay, yeah, you can see that, yeah. So that's the flap, that's the pocket. Now if you want to make a different shaped flap, what you can do is you can push in one side or 2 sides of this to make a different shape. You don't need to cut anything off, just fold it in like so. So it's like that. I've just pushed it in, and of course I would iron this. My iron's down on the floor, so. And then you would get that nice shape. In fact, that's quite a nice shape. I like that. You can also do the same thing, push in this side, and then you would get that V-shaped flap. And once it's done like this and you've ironed it, you can go ahead and decorate it, or you can sew a snap here, or one of those punch snap things that you can get, or you can sometimes tie a ribbon there. You know, if you want to be real fancy, you can sew a ribbon on there and wind it around. You can make a buttonhole here too, and that looks really nice. I'm not going to do any of that stuff because I'm going to show you what I thought I might put on it. I pulled out a few little scraps here. So this is a little piece of gauzy material, and I thought that might be nice, and I'm only going to glue it. I'm not going to do any more than that. Seems to me that's plenty. And I do have another one made somewhere here that I was going to show you. Okay, where is it? Just a minute, see if I can find it. I made one before, but now I seem to have mislaid it. Oh no, here it is, here it is. So before I made this one today, earlier in the day, I made this one here from silk. I had just a little scrap of silk, and it was silk crepe de chine, and so it's not real strong. So for this one, what I had to do was I had to interface it like that. So I put on it's a woven interfacing, just to give it body, and then I just glued on the trims like that. There's a flower and some pearls and so forth. So that's the other one. So now for this I thought I would fiddle around, see what I can come up with. So this is the base, the little bit of scrim, and I'll just put a little bit of that on. Oops, I put too much. Sometimes it didn't come out like that. Okay, so that's that. Then I thought I want something to hang off the edge, so I've got this little shape piece, and let me see, I think that would be good. So I'll just put a little dab of glue on that. So I thought that might be nice there. And I've got this little tiny flower, little crocheted flower bit. I'm going to put that, where am I going to put it? Well, first of all, not first of all, but also I had these little organdy yo-yos, which are antique, these ones, and they didn't have the pearl in the center, but I put the pearl in the center, so I'm going to add that because I like it, and I like the color, and it's old-fashioned enough to where I'm not going to put it dead center. I'm going to move it over that way, because to me asymmetry is better. Then I had a little piece of rickrack, and that's kind of old-fashioned these days. I thought, oh, I'll just put that under there somewhere. Sorry, my thing clicked off, my camera. Okay, so here's another little set of little flowers. There are 4 little flowers there, and I thought I might drape those around in a little circle like that. Then I also have some seam binding that I dyed, and I kind of like the color, so I've made a 1-loop bow, which is my favorite, and I'm just going to put that underneath the flower, the yo-yo, just under there. See, and because this flap is on so there we go. Woohoo, finished. Easy, easy peasy. I didn't iron it, it didn't need it, but I could, and of course you could always stitch around the flap and stitch that in shape if you wanted to. So those are the 2, and I hope that worked out. I don't know if the camera was in focus the whole time. I work in extreme circumstances and disarray. But anyway, thank you for watching. Bye now.